Hi friends, this is a Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. I'm really excited about this particular um, video. We've been we spent Christmas in California. I've been gone for a week. My family is just coming back today, so I can't wait to see them. I mean, I saw them there, but I really didn't see them, so I miss them terribly. So I'm going to make beef stew in a bread bowl. So I'm going to make the bread now because this, both of these items are time consuming. They need to take their time. So I'm giving it their time. I'm going to whip up the bread bowls now. Let me show you. This is the list of ingredients. So the first thing I'm going to do is combine my flours and my salt. Wow, okay. I'll tell you, I had my salt and my sugar next to each other, and I had to actually taste one. Kind of don't want to mess this one up. You're going to use the flour to help the yeast bloom. You're going to use the sugar to help the yeast bloom. Salt is not going to do anything to it. All right. That's going to set for a minute. And I'm going to put in, let me see, I'm going to move my mixer so that you can see it. I'm going to put in the warm water, and you don't want it hot. If you do get it hot, wait until it's finger temperature, kind of like a baby's bottle. So I'm going to put in the sugar and the yeast, and I'm just going to let that set for about 5 to 10 minutes until it starts to bloom. And what's happening is the yeast is holding on to the sugar, and it's eating it, and it's getting chubby, and it's getting fluffy, and it's getting fat, and that's what we want. And when it's done, it's going to look like a brain. One other thing I forgot to add to my flour is my garlic. And this has a little bit of garlic and rosemary, which is fine, and my very finely chopped rosemary, fresh rosemary. So that's going to go in the flour. I don't want to move this bowl at all. I'm going to leave the yeast to do its stuff. But in the meantime, I am going to mix this in. And man, the smell you get, remember, anytime you can add flavor, add it. You want to do that. And then when this is going to be baking, holy moly macaroni, it's going to make a happy home. All right, now that'll sit, and we will come back to this. This is a very quick recipe. By the way, do you like my new chef's coat? Cute, right? I know. You're saying, Maria, this isn't a fashion show. Get to cooking. Okay, I got brain matter going. Yeah, okay, brain matter. That's what we're going to call it. Let me see. How close can I get to you? Can you see that? Is that better, 1 or 2? I need to get out more. Okay. Now, can I tell you, I have never made dough or bread with a KitchenAid mixer. I like using my hands. I like getting my hands and everything. But this is a big batch, so I'm going to go ahead and let this do the work for me today. So I've got my dry ingredients, and I'm going to add it in just a little at a time. There's a lot to it, so. And away we go. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this part only because it's the same thing. I'm going to pour in the olive oil, and let that get together. It's coming to a pretty good ball, but it's not nearly ready. So I'm going to pick it up a little bit. I'm going to leave it here for 10 minutes. Okay, I took it out of the mixer before it was done. I wasn't happy with the results I'm getting, so I'm going back to my muscle and taking care of business that way. So I'm going to knead this. It needs to be at a very, it needs to be almost, well, not elastic, but kind of elastic. And the only way I'm going to get that done here is by muscle. I think that elbow grease is what my dad used to call it. I remember one time, I may have told you this already, I was a little girl and my mom needed me to clean something. It was spring cleaning. God, we hated that. But she had a troop full of, house full of workers, so why not take advantage of it? Well, she told me to go clean something, and it was a stubborn stain. And my dad was watching me just struggle. And my dad was a very intimidating man. And I didn't ever like to disappoint him or, you know, I wasn't scared of him, but he had a presence. And he looked at me and he told me, he goes, put some elbow grease on that thing. And I said, okay. And then he left. I quickly ran to my mother. Mom, where do we keep the elbow grease? I wish I could find it in aisle 9. All right, I'm going to have at this. I can already feel it getting better. So I'm going to keep going at it. And I'll be right back. All right, this looks much better. I didn't know I could drum. All right, next step. I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil and I'm going to coat. I hate to do this, but all right. There's a lot of oil in here. It's all right. I'm just going to coat the sides because it's going to rise. I don't know how much it's going to rise. Then I'm going to put the bread in here, and I'm going to make sure it's all coated. So I have a damp cloth. I'm just going to cover the bowl, not the bread, just the bowl. And I'm going to let it sit for about an hour in a warm place. I have the oven going at 200 degrees, and I'm just going to put this on top of the stove. Check this out. That baby got beautiful. It rose to about twice the size, which is what you want. Then you're going to punch this puppy and deflate it. I'm going to roll it out a little bit. Not roll it out. I'm not going to roll it out. But I am going to take it out. And I'm going to just give it a couple of turns. All right. Now, and I have it in a log because I'm going to divide it into 6 different equal portions. Hopefully. All right. What am I doing? What am I doing? 2. feels good. Don't worry about this size. You're gonna roll it out. I mean, why am I thinking I'm gonna roll this dough? I'm not gonna roll this dough. I am gonna form it into a ball though. Right, and here's where it kind of gets a little tricky. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. So you can just kind of mold it into a ball, okay? And that's good. You definitely want the insides to be stretched, and you want this tight. You do want this tight. So however you can do it like this way, get it nice and pinched. Myself, I'm going to roll it into itself. So what am I doing? I'm pushing it in and twisting it out. And this is just holding it in place. So it looks like I'm just doing this, but I'm actually going down, pushing it down, and pushing it down and scooting it in. I know, it's hard to see, but that's a good ball that will go on the bottom. Okay. Whatever way you want to work it, guys, I mean, as a matter of fact, if you don't want a bowl, if you want 2 big loaves, you can just, this is where you're gonna stop and do it at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these. So this part here, what I'm doing is I'm kind of scooping it and tucking it under. Does that make it easier for you? Like that? Okay? If that one's easier for you, whatever's going to work. But for me, I'm going to stick with this. All right, let me finish the other 3. All right. So I have mine here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to score the tops. So I have to put this back to set again, so I reset my oven. I don't know why I turned it off in the first place. All right, now I have an egg wash, which is 1 egg with water. If you've been paying attention, you already know that. This is going to give it a good golden color. And it's really interesting with my oven. I don't get the gold colors my gas ovens used to give me, and boy, I don't like that. So I figured out a way to get the color by putting 1 rack higher, closer to the top. Now this is going to sit for about half an hour or so. It's going to get a little bit bigger. I'm going to cover it again with a wet towel and put it in a warm place for about half an hour. Okay, so while that's rising, I'm going to start on the beef stew. If you could smell the rosemary and the garlic, it's not even baked yet. The aroma is dynamic. I am going to add a little bit of garlic and rosemary, fresh rosemary, into the beef stock, in the beef stew. So it'll combine the flavors there as well. I wanted to show you, I got potatoes cut and soaking in water, primarily because I kind of want to take away some of that starch. I want to be able to control the starch. I want to control everything. Oh, it's sad if it's not the truth. It's not. But, so everything has to be in equal size portions whenever you're making anything. But your root vegetables like potatoes and carrots or anything else that you put in here, a root vegetable it's going to take longer to cook. they're hard. So when you cut carrots, now I love peas in my stew. My family can't stand them, so I'm not going to put them in. And believe me, I'll miss them, but that's fine. Carrots, I can eat a bowl of cooked carrots all day long. My family can't stand them, so I get all the carrots. So that's an even match. But the size of the carrots when they're being cut, it matters. So you have a wider end and then you have a smaller end. So when you get to the smaller end, they're going to be longer. And the wider the base of the carrot, the more narrow. Get it? No? Come here, I'll show you. Want to make sure you get this. So you see, this is a pretty wide piece. And this is small, but it's much longer. Okay, so the smaller, thinner pieces are going to be longer. It's going to take equal amount of time to cut. Now that we're getting bigger, I'm going to go smaller. Oh, you know this already. Mostly, I'm just excited that I get all the carrots. So you cut your carrots. I got the potatoes going. My daughter, who insists on just driving me crazy because she can't stand onion. How is that a thing? She's like her dad. It was horrible cooking. So you have to have onion when you're making, you have to have onion. It's part of the Holy Trinity, you know, the mirepoix. Celery, onion, and carrots. Those are the bases of all your stews and stocks and such. So, because it's her and she won't eat it if there's onions in it, I'm going to grate the onion. So she'll take the onion juice. She'll take the onion flavor. She just doesn't like biting into it. Okay. So I'll grate the onion. And then by that time, this baby back here should be ready to go in the oven. One of the great things about stews is that you can use, and you really should use, the cheapest cut of beef. This is a pauper's meal. People, you know, they had to make things stretch, and they didn't get, you know, London broil for their family. So anything that they had, they kind of put it in the pot. So when you're, you have a really cheap cut of beef, the marbling in it, that's going to really help with the flavor. And you're going to cook it low and slow for a long time. Mine probably about 3 to 4 hours. I'll cook it for 3 hours. Turn the oven off because I'm going to bake it actually. Turn the oven off and then let it sit for like an hour. So, Now, after I said that about the beef, I found this, do as I say, not as I do. I found this beautiful piece of London broil. It was on sale. Otherwise, I would have gone for the butt, the brisket butt part. You know what I mean. So I got a London broil for it. I miss my family. What can I say? I want to spoil them. So I'm going to cut that into good sized cubes, not too small, because if you make it too small with that long cooking, you're going to lose a lot of the texture. So I'll just cut this. That is beautiful. There's a good amount of marbling in it. Yeah, I'm good with this. Let me get my good knife. It's like butter knife, baby. Or like butter, I should say. You want marbling. You think chopping an onion makes you cry? That's one onion. And a lot of juice. Boy, my eyes, they look like they should be out. Oh well. Okay, they're proofed. They're ready to go in the oven. Turned my oven to 400 and they're gonna bake for about 35 minutes. The last 5 minutes I'm gonna put it on the top shelf because I want that browning. But take a look. Beautimus. Beautimus? Ah. Oh, very, very light. Such an interesting concept. So, all right. This is gonna go in the oven. When that's baking, we're gonna start the stew. Okay, for the stew, I'm not using a recipe. I know what goes in it, and that's what I'm going off of. But I will try to be mindful in case you want to replicate this. So I've got 3 potatoes, cut, peeled and cubed, 3 carrots, but that's just because that's my preference, 2 celery stalks. I'm going to put the whole thing in there. In the end, this will come out, but I want all the flavor. And 1 onion. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brown my beef, so I'm going to pat it dry because I want that sear, and you won't get that with if your meat is wet. What'll happen is it will steam, and then the steaming and searing are not going to give you the same results. Searing is, and we're going to coat this in flavored flour. It'll have some garlic and salt and pepper, and you can put whatever flavorings you want. And they're going to be coated, and then it's going to be put on a high pot actually, and it's going to kind of seal everything in. I'm not going to cook it. I'm only going to brown it. All right, this is pretty pretty. All right, so in a Ziploc bag, I have sunflour. How much? I don't know. Let's say 1.5 cups. You need more, get more. I have salt and pepper. I have more pepper. There's pepper in there. I have more pepper than salt because I'm going to continue salting it throughout, a little bit at a time. So I'm not going to put a whole lot there. And then I've got the garlic powder that I used in the bread. And I'm just going to coat them. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to put them in and shake, and, like a shake and bake bag. Not going to overload it. And you never, ever overload your pan when you're doing that because, again, you're going to prevent the searing. All right, and then I'm going to shake that off. And this is what I want. It looks like a powdered donut. Well, a powdered something. All right, the oven's going to go off. I'm going to get the bread in, and we'll continue with this. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is get my pan hot. And I'm going to use olive oil. Grapeseed oil is another great thing to use because it burns. It has a high burn content, which is what you want. Pan's hot, oil's not. So I'm going to wait until the oil gets hot. Then I'm going to put in, I don't know, just 1 row at a time. Take them out and put in another row. You do not want to overload your pot at this time. Another thing you don't want to do is let it burn because you're not going to get a good, it's going to taste. It will taste different. So, and you want to brown all 4 sides. Okay, so you see how that got brown? That's it. That's all I want. Were you able to see that? Here, I don't want to drip it, so I'll show you in just a minute. You might want to wear your apron for this because it does splatter. See that? Sorry, I don't want to drip this oil. All four sides. You know what? Let me just go ahead and do it this way. All right. I'm going to continue this and get back. Wow, I wish you could smell this. These are fantastic. They're big and beautiful and have a nice hard crust, which is going to be perfect for dipping. And away they cool. Okay, so now I'm going to lower the temperature a bit on my stove, and I'm going to put in the mirepoix. Now, this gunky stuff, that's called fawn, F-A-W-N. That's the stuff you want. You want that there. Looking for my scraper. So when, that is goodness, believe it or not. So I'm going to put in my carrots, my celery, I'm going to lower the temperature a bit, and when I put in that onion, that water is going to pop. But, gotta have it. Now, I am going to unsalt this. Like I said, I'm going to be salting it throughout the cooking time. And I want this on low. I just want it to kind of collect all the flavors together. Before I put in the stock, I'm going to take out the celery only because I know nobody in the home is going to eat it. So give me the flavor and I'll put you to sleep. Smell it. Can you smell it? I should make cologne out of this stuff. Or perfume, then guys would really follow you everywhere. Alright, I'm going to let this cook on low for just a few minutes. You know your family better than anybody, and so you have to cook according to what they will or won't eat. Some of these, you know what? No, I'm just going to take out the big pieces because they're going to give me enough flavor. Yeah, all right. All right, so while it's on low, I'm going to add some butter. And again with the sum. So let me say about a quarter of a cup, which is half a stick. And I will do it in cubes. I know, looks overwhelming, right? But we're going to make a roux. And you need, I have some fat, but I want the flavorful fat from the butter for the roux. Okay, so let me say about a half a cup of fat to about a half a cup of flour. I'm going to use the same flour that I used to coat the beef. I'm going to go a little less just because I want to see what it's going to do. Holy moly. All right, I'm going to go less than a half a cup of flour. If I need it thicker later on, I'll make a slurry with cornstarch and water, and that'll thicken it up. But for now, I want to toast out that flour. And just let that cook for a bit. And remember, this has the salt, the pepper, and the rosemary. I think that was all I put in it. Oh, garlic. I didn't put the rosemary, I put the garlic. All right, and then I'm going to use, I'm going to start off with a box of the beef broth. I got the low sodium. Again, like I always say, if you can't taste it, don't put it in. So this is toasting really good. This is going to be perfect. You know, you go on a long trip and a long vacation and you come home absolutely wiped out. So hopefully a little of the nice cozy dinner, hot shower, jammies, movies, they should be set. Some of the sounds that you get from your kitchen, boy, they're weird, aren't they? All right, I'm going to crank it up to a medium high. I want all this stuff in there. Everybody's invited, baby. Come on by. Get in. You know me, I'm not one to leave the good stuff behind. All right. I'm going to put in, well, what's left of my Worcestershire sauce, which is about 2 tablespoons. This gives it a really good, homey, earthy flavor. If I had more, I would probably put more. I think I'm going to go for another more broth. I'm going to get it, and then I'll see. So I'm going to let it cook for just a bit. Now, I'm going to add a can of tomato sauce. Just because I think that the tomatoes and the beef don't do what I just did. Well, go ahead. I mean, you're not, just be safe. It's going to give it a really good color. And then the beef and the tomatoes, they always go good together. Now, at this point, myself, if I was cooking for others, I would put in about, all right, so that's looking really good. I got the potatoes in there. Everything is playing nicely. Now I'm gonna put the meat in. let me just go ahead and do this. I mean, there's no fun to that. Okay, so I cut the top off and scooped out a little bit for the stew. But man, look at how light. That is beautiful. The outside is a nice crispy crust, which is perfect for dipping. I'm going to cut this off and cut it into pieces so that they can eat it on the side. And man, smell. See those rosemary and beautimus. I'm happy. All right, I'm going to put in the 2 sprigs of rosemary. Cover this, let it cook for 45 minutes on super low. Then I'm going to put it in the oven for 3.5 hours at 250. No, 200. Oh man, that looks so good. Very hearty. I'm going to poke at this beef. Oh, everything is just tender. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay, and can you believe it? It's going to go for another hour. Can you smell that? Man, if all the things I wish you could smell, this would be on the top 3. That just fell off. It was just fork tender. It's a nice thick gravy. This part here, this will be my favorite. So tender. Yum! I can't wait for them to get home, get showered and changed and get into their pajamas. Then it's grub time. This is it. When they're done getting ready to relax, I'm going to put them in the bowls and serve them up hot. That's it, my friends. That's dinner. I hope you enjoyed it. It was long, but it was worth it. I'm just going to start wearing it as perfume. That's it, my friends. Until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.